honest with you, my man. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I know I'm a homer. I know I'm a little bit biased, but Colt McCoy,
He beat
Nice.
Russell Wilson, did he not?
Yikes.
oh, he beat Russell Wilson. Who knows how to block?
Welcome back to another brand new episode of E on the Mic. I am your host, E, aka Ethan, and we're back on episode 10, guys. How we doing today? So just a quick little shout outs real quick. Shirt from Lavari. I appreciate the shirt, man. Great music out there. That man has 550,000 people that listen to his album, and that just came out a month ago. And I appreciate the card that they gave me. That was good. That was a good voice there. And then a new album by Silva, Departure, releasing tonight. His first ever album. Shout out to you, man. I remember I interviewed you on Instagram Live, man. I hope you do. I hope this album does great for you, especially on one of the songs you did on SoundCloud. But enough with the shout outs. I got two great guys on my show today. Let's start with the first one that has been on my show first. Payton Doyle. How are you doing, Payton Doyle?
You already know I'm doing good, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Last time you were on my show, man, your predictions, episode, what was it, episode 38?
Man,
I'm not mistaken.
yeah, maybe, yeah. I think
From my last show.
Yep, of Ethan and Mike. Yep.
Man, how you been, man? It's been a minute.
I know it's been a minute, dog, but I'm back and ready to do this show, man.
Yeah, especially since the Browns are in the playoff contention, although they lost. But we're gonna get to that, Payton. We're gonna get to your Browns. But first time appearing on my show. I've been on his show. BB Sports. Come on down, man. How you been, Jared?
Hey, I've been good. It's good to be on. Excited to finally be on the show. You've been on my show before. We've had great conversations. I'm going to enjoy this one. Have never really done anything with Payton, but probably will do some more with Payton here in the future, hopefully. But excited to be on your show. Great show. Love it. One of my new favorites, actually.
Appreciate it, Jared, man. Especially when I went on your show, it was fun. Although I wish it would got more views for you, especially for my feature. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, just enjoying the content for our fans and our viewers. At the end of the day.
Yeah. It didn't get a lot of views on YouTube, but it was actually one of my more listened to episodes, like with my podcast, and like when I looked at the analytics. So that was kind of cool to look at. But for some reason it just didn't do well on YouTube, I guess. I don't know. It's weird.
It's crazy, you never know what works. YouTube be the spotlight, or it could be Spotify the spotlight. You just never know,
Yeah.
Whatever given day, it's just any given day. But fellas, man, how you guys doing? First time have both of you on my podcast at the same time, especially since I both talk to you guys.
Yes, sir. I'm absolutely ready to go, man. And like Jared said, I'm gonna do more with Jared in the future, of course, too. I haven't had him on my show, or I haven't been on his show, but I'm for sure gonna do that in the future as well.
Man, this man Payton hasn't even got me one feature on his show, and I brought him twice.
Hey, and I'm gonna get you on too. But like I said, man, I record episodes at like 1 a.m. Like I'm so like spontaneous that it's like like I never have guests on, like, because like it's hard for me to plan out a time when I'm gonna go to record, because sometimes I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to record right now because I can't sleep or something. It's like 1 a.m. Like, I'm not going to call you guys at 1 a.m. and be like, hey, yo, hop on Zoom, bro. Like, let's go get an episode going. Like, that's annoying. You know what I mean?
We make it happen, though.
Hey, okay. All right. Next time.
You know?
I'll hit you up then.
Trust me. Like, and then before I really started up, what I was telling these fellas before they got on, they're great upcoming guys, man. They really, I think, when I remember saw Payton Doyle, I remember seeing his on Instagram. Same thing with Jared, man. They're both really upcoming, man. I think they're gonna be really well on this podcast, and I'm surprised that both of them are not even TikTok famous right now. I'm gonna be honest with their takes on TikTok. I know Payton has to do a little bit more, but I know I've been seeing Jared a bit more on there since I know he's been
real active.
Yeah, TikTok is grueling because you be working dumb hard on a video and then get like 200 views, and you're like, bro, this is where it's gonna top off at.
No, that's so serious. Like, okay,
Like,
I gotta put respect on people that on TikTok. Like, I'm so serious. Like, I did not expect TikTok to be that hard of a thing to do. Like, it takes me a long time to make one TikTok, and then like it just flops, and I'm like, all right, like, okay.
But then you see something so stupid on your For You page that you're just like, how did this blow up? How did this blow up?
Exactly. It's like how many mints can I fit in my mouth? And it has like 1 million views, and it's like, really, dude? Like, come on now.
The mind blowing at TikTok, I'm telling you, like, they just don't recognize us yet. I just feel one of these days, man, it's gonna recognize it finally. You know, I just really see that.
For sure.
Especially both of y'all be working your asses off. I'm telling you, both of you guys are working your behinds off. I'm telling you, you know.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
But also another note, Payton on his latest episode looked like ABC on Monday Night Football celebrating the 50 years. I had to say this on the podcast. I know I was not gonna let this slide.
Listen, man.
You know,
hey, y'all can make fun of it, bro. I like the outfit. I'll wear it again too. Like, I don't care, man. That's my style, bro. Like, I always gotta have the collared shirt. I gotta be looking clean. I gotta be looking nice. You know what I mean? That's just my style.
Payton looking fresh, and got Jared looking fresh too, and with a blizzard outside with 9 inches of snow.
Can't relate.
Yeah, that Florida weather, y'all got lucky. I'll be down there soon though. I'm moving to Florida in January. So
January,
like I'm moving.
New Year. It was like,
I'm moving down there in about a month. So
where
yeah,
at?
I'm like Pensacola, that area.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, you're talking about like far away.
Hey, but I might be moving to Gainesville in about six months here, so that's not that far.
No,
we'll get a live show going, maybe.
Yeah, both of y'all are gonna be far the hell away from me. I'm gonna tell you that much.
Yeah.
Gonna move from south. Payton about to move from south to north, and it's gonna feel like odd for him.
Yeah, right. It is. It's gonna be different. It's a whole different world up there. It's a whole different
more
world.
Country, more forest. So
yeah, for anyone who doesn't know the dynamics of Florida, like North Florida is like a different state than South Florida. It's
definitely different. Unless you're Jared, that's normal. What do you think of these Steelers right now? Although they on a skid with 2-game losing streak.
I have zero confidence in Pittsburgh right now. The defense, since the injuries have happened to Bud Dupree and other players, the defense has become too easy to stop because if you stop just two of the guys, the back end cannot hold up. And we've seen that all year from the Steelers. The back end has been the more disappointing thing. The corners, while they're solid, while I love Joe Hayden and Steven Nelson, it just can't hold up. They're older guys. Minka can't do everything in the back end. Terrell Edmonds, listen, he was a former first round pick, but let me tell you, that guy can't cover he can't cover to save his life. I mean, he's great in run support, but he can't cover to save his life. And the defense isn't the only problem. The run game is the problem. That offensive line is one of the most overpaid in football, one of the more underachieving and more disappointing offensive lines in football. It's getting to the point where I'm like, we really cannot move the football. I mean, our best running back, Steelers Nation was so excited to get James Conner back. And yeah, while he has a great story and all, and yeah, he's in a contract year, the guy survived cancer and then the guy survived COVID. But the problem is, I don't think he's all that great. I don't want Pittsburgh to re-sign him. I want them to draft a guy in the first round immediately. But the problem is you could draft a guy like Najee Harris or Travis Etienne in the first round, but that's not going to help the offensive line problems. I have no faith going into the playoffs. I think right now, the way this team looks, we're a one and done in the playoffs.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I can agree with you here for the Steelers. They kind of started looking sluggish, especially when they were undefeated. They were really feeling like invincible at times, but they were showing leakage, especially on the offense, because they had no running game. You had to rely on Big Ben most of the time, which that's why I picked Washington, upset you guys that late for Monday. But it just shows that Steelers are not invincible, and that's why the Chiefs are now in first place now. Thanks for us losing the Dolphins, but you really think about it, I still think the Steelers still have the division. Although Payton's probably going to be in the background kind of getting pissed off at me right now. But I think the Steelers can still hold on. I really think that. But I think they're probably going to be 1-out. I don't see them in the Super Bowl. I think they're just really going to struggle in the playoffs once they really play a true team. You know, I mean, they did play the Titans this year, but they almost choked that game away, really. But it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough for the Steelers moving on. But I still keep my heads up as of right now. Unless things don't improve, then you got some worrying for the Steelers. Now, now Payton, you're Browns, man. What happened on Monday night? It was a shootout. That was the greatest Monday night I have seen in a while. Let me be real. You know.
Yeah.
Tell me about it, Payton.
My takeaway from that game is that the problem for the Browns is no longer Baker Mayfield like we all thought it was. The biggest question mark on the Browns and their playoff success is going to be their defense. Listen, Lamar Jackson is an electrifying playmaker. We all know this, but he made our defense look pathetic. He made them look like he made Myles Garrett look like he wasn't even on the field because of his mobility. That's what he does. And our secondary is like Swiss cheese. There's tons of holes in it everywhere. Okay. I mean, it's so bad. And we've given up plenty of points to everyone. We gave up 1.5 million points to Dallas. Dak Prescott threw for like 500 yards. I mean, we give up points to everyone. We gave up 38 to the Ravens in week 1. We gave up 38 to the Steelers, I'm pretty sure. Like the Browns need to stop giving up so many points, especially when your offense is more run-based and you need to control the time of possession. You're not built to play in shootouts. And if you play the Chiefs in the playoffs, kiss it goodbye, because Patrick Mahomes is going to do unspeakable things to an extremely mediocre secondary. The Browns really need to improve on that this offseason before they're legitimate Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there on the defensive side, especially the corners. They get beat. Like the Titans, it looked like a blowout really against the Titans, but the Titans were coming back closer and slowly but surely almost coming back in that game, which that's where the Browns defense is really concerning. Now, I understand Baker Mayfield has definitely improved for the past few weeks. I know that one costly interception that happened on Monday night and Cody Parkey missing field goals, and then he missed an extra point, which technically is 4 points right there. That could have been a difference. And Lamar Jackson coming out of the bathroom break from pulling Paul Pierce and all that. But, you know, what's impressive about the Browns is they're 9-4. I don't think no one really expected them to be 9-4. But then when you really take away from it, from OBJ, is it time to move from OBJ away from the Browns? Let me ask you that.
Wow, that is a tough question. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say no, not yet. Not yet. Now, I understand that a lot of people feel like Baker has been playing better without Odell, but I also think that Odell's injury was poorly timed. I feel like due to COVID, there was no time in the offseason for Baker Mayfield to adjust to the new offense that Kevin Stefanski put in place for him. And I feel like he's just now finally getting a hang of that offense, and he's feeling comfortable in it midway through the season. And Odell just happened to get hurt while Baker was transitioning in the offense. But if we go into next year and Odell comes back and Baker starts to look like he's regressed again, maybe we can start thinking about moving on from Odell. But as of right now, Odell's a great receiver, and I don't see any point in moving a great player from a team.
Interesting near the end of the season, which that's when you two will be friends for like 3 hours and a half.
I'm gonna be at that game in Cleveland.
You're gonna be in Cleveland?
I'm gonna be right on the 50-yard line watching that game in Cleveland.
So, Browns win that game, guaranteed.
Hey, I hope so.
No faith right now. That's where I'm at.
Man,
no faith.
No faith for the Steelers, Steel Nation.
It's tough to watch. It is. It was very tough to sit through that Sunday night game.
Jared is the only Steelers fan that I've met to this day that isn't reeking with arrogance. And for that, Jared, I'm going to give you some respect, because normally I have problems with Steelers Nation. They give me a lot of problems because I've been very skeptical on their team all year. I'm the guy that said, if you think they're as good as 10-0 or 11-0, you're wrong. And everyone was like, well, they are 11-0, right? And, you know, Steelers Nation doesn't like me very much, but I'll give you some respect because you are not reeking with arrogance like much of your other Steelers friends.
Bro, the group chat we are in, when the Steelers start losing or they start struggling, bro, I have to mute it. Because it does feel like a personal attack. And when I respond to defend the Steelers in any sort of way, everybody just jumps at me. And I'm just like, whoa, I didn't ask.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of Steelers fans in that group chat for sure.
Yeah, I just stay quiet. I'm like, yeah, the freaking Bills win.
No,
great.
not at all.
That's not great from my standpoint, since I'm a Finns fan and all that. Try chase that division, really. But it's gonna be nice to see the Steelers and Browns near the end of the season. If the Browns can win the last 2 games and the Steelers lose the next few games, and it makes it very interesting for the division title if you really think about it. But
how would that work with the tiebreakers? Does anyone know? Like if the Steelers lose out and the Browns win out, can they still win the division?
let's see. The Steelers are 11-2.
Let's slow it down now. Ain't no,
hey,
ain't no way.
Hey, I could be hopeful. I'm excited. This is the first time that the Browns have a real shot at making a playoffs in my lifetime. I was born in 2003. The last time the Browns made the playoffs is 2002. I have never seen my team in the playoffs before. I'm excited. I don't care how we get there. I don't care if it's a wild card. I don't care if we win the division. I just want to see the Browns in the playoffs, and hopefully we could do something and get some action in there.
Yeah, you about to see finally some playoff hope right there instead of watching TV all freaking playoff long.
Oh my
goodness, I've seen my team go twice, and Jared probably seen his team go a bunch of times with the Super Bowl rings. I think twice already in this generation alone.
Yeah.
So you
got. I started watching football as I was like 9, so like that was about when the Steelers last were in the Super Bowl. It's been a while since I've seen a Super Bowl though, but y'all can't relate, so I'm not gonna.
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. I didn't watch my team win for 635 days straight. We didn't win a game.
My God,
I don't want to hear any
including a season with 0-16.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's
I don't want to hear.
At least my team didn't go 0-16. We went 1-15, 07. So it's a good thing.
We did that too. We went 1-15 and then went 0-16 right after. So, try me, dude. I mean, it doesn't get worse.
My team went 0-15, 11-5, and made the AFC East Division title.
And that was good. That was wonderful.
Player predictions, but who is the real imposter of the AFC side? So this is what we have as of right now, the standings right now as we speak, going into week 15. We got the Chiefs at number 1, Steelers at number 2, the Bills number 3, Titans 4th seed, the Browns 5th, the Colts 6th, Miami 7th, and then the Hunt, Baltimore, Raiders, and the Pats. So on the AFC side, who is the imposter? I'm going to start with actually Payton first this time, actually.
The imposter is the Colts, in my opinion. I don't think that Phillip Rivers has enough left in the tank to win games. I know it's not popular. And I just don't feel as if Phillip Rivers at 38 years old right now can consistently play well enough at a high enough level to win in the playoffs. I think they will end up making the playoffs, mainly because the Raiders are in the hunt. They're kind of out of it. I think they're imposters as well. I don't think they're going to make it in the playoffs. The Dolphins, they've got a tough schedule coming up. They play the Patriots, and I believe they play the Raiders too, right?
Yes, indeed. And then to finish off the Bills.
Yeah. Make it even worse, right? So maybe schedule-wise, the Dolphins, but I feel like for the Dolphins, it's not about the playoffs this year. So the Colts were buying into a win now. I believe that's going to fail for them because they can't win now. They don't have it yet.
Okay. Jared, what you think?
I hate this. It's just like, let's just try to do what we can and develop this guy, because I don't think it's about this year. I think it's about the future, and that's why I think they're kind of an imposter this year. But they're going to be a problem here in the next couple of years. But this year, I just don't think it's about playoffs for them. Just like Peyton said, Raiders are out of it. I like the Colts personally because I don't think it's about Phil Rivers. I think it's about their run game and their defense, and I think that's the things that can win in the playoffs. So I really like the Colts, but the Dolphins, and I love what they're building for the future. It's just not this year, in my opinion.
Okay, I understand that point, which I already knew Miami's was going to be out with the tough schedule comparing to the Baltimore Ravens, and then you got Las Vegas Raiders having a nice little matchups. It's tough, As much as I don't want to say my team, I just want to believe my team can go straight up 3 games and win it out, because we play in tough games where we beat 3 teams out of the NFC West. We kind of went almost coming back from the Chiefs, and then we had the Pats struggling. You got the Raiders. Derek Carr has been struggling as well, too. But then you got Josh Allen in the end. So as of right now, I got to say my Fins right now. It's hard for me to say that, although we have chances of winning. But then my other team though, I gotta say I with Payton. I think the Colts. I just worry about Phillip Rivers. Can he finish off the season though? I know they have favorable matchups like Texans and many more teams, but it's just between those two. I think for me, I know why Miami's in there in that suggestion. 3 games, tough. Pats, like you said, Pats ain't an easy team to play. Raiders in Las Vegas, and then you got Buffalo with who knows? It's probably gonna be snowing week 17, January. Who knows? Just for the division title. Who even knows at that point? But yeah, I will have to go with Colts in Miami for the AFC for the imposters. Now for the NFC side, I'm gonna start it off first though. The NFC side, which I will explain the teams who are in there right now. The Packers, the first seed, the Saints second, the Rams third seed, Washington football team fourth, Seattle fifth, Tampa sixth. And then you got the Cardinals 7th, and then the hunt. I really just put the Bears because I think the Bears may have a chance since they just blew out Texans. Maybe. Who knows? But who's the imposter here that I say is going to be an imposter? I think it's going to be this is going to be tough because all the good teams. I don't see the Giants actually making it at all since they just going to lose Daniel Jones again. I'm going to say the Cardinals. Now, surprisingly, why I say the Cardinals, though, I just see them struggling a lot. Their defense has been struggling. I know they just came off an impressive win over the Giants after the Giants beat Seattle. I just worry about Kyler Murray's shoulder still. I know he did put up points against that Giants defense that everyone's praising about. I just don't see the consistency right now for the Cardinals. I know the Vikings just lost to the Tampa, especially with Dan Bailey missing field goals and extra points, getting 0 points in fantasy. So prayers up because I had to face Dan Bailey, so I like that. But anyways, back to not my personal preference, but I just don't see the Cardinals. I can surprisingly, if the Bears play how they are, they can sneakily get into 7th seed. I know that sounds crazy. This sounds crazy. I said some crazy stuff, but it could be the Bears. Who knows? The Bears could come sneakily to 7th seed. You never know. I think the Bears can sneakily get the 7th seed spot. But let me pass it on to Jared. What do you think, Jared?
If I had to be honest, it's not a popular pick at all. And this is a pick that I could get some hate for, but it's the Seattle Seahawks. I don't trust their defense at all. Russ has not been consistent since probably midway through the season, at week 8 or week 9 or something like that. He's been way too inconsistent. Yeah, they just had a bounce back week. That's because they played the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets.
Most of the other teams they've played since week 8, they've struggled against, regardless of how good or bad they are. And I don't think that team is well coached enough. And I don't think that team has the talent to make a push past the second round. I mean, a lot of people had them as like a preseason possible like Super Bowl contender, and I just didn't understand why. That pass rush, yeah, Carlos Dunlap has been helpful, but I don't see how that's going to make the difference and make them a Super Bowl contender. I think it's the Seattle Seahawks because there are some real, and I don't this team.
Okay, yeah, I can see where Seattle can come into play because I've been always crazy about Seattle, their defense wise. I know they just added don't look, but I don't know. It's kind of crazy for me there. But Payton, what do you think is the imposter for the NFC side? Since we already mentioned the AFC side already.
You know, Jared really stole it from me, man. I was gonna say the Seahawks too. Jared really stole it from me. I thought I was on to something, but I do have something to tell you that Jared didn't mention. Since week 7, nobody has turned the ball over more than Russell Wilson. That is not a good sign coming down to the final stretch of the season.
No.
A guy is broke. He's broke.
Yeah. It's tough. Well, 1, he has no blocking. The offensive line does not help him out whatsoever. 2, the play calling is weird. They rarely ever have success running the ball on the ground. If you look at Chris Carson's rushing numbers, they're well below average, right? 3, that defense is awful. They can't defend the pass at all whatsoever. And like you said, Jared, yeah, Carlos Dunlap helped a lot, but it's way too little to consider that defense to be any sort of solid, respectable defense in the league at all. They're giving up so many points left and right. I mean, the only time that they looked good this season was against the Jets. and a lot of people are putting them in top 10 again in their power rankings. I'm like, wow, you beat up the Jets. I mean, seriously, like that's just pathetic. Like, that's just sad. Of course, you better beat up the Jets. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We should be giving the Seahawks absolutely no credit for beating the Jets, right? Because their defense cannot play defense, and they can't run the ball for some reason, and they can't block. And their quarterback's turning the ball over more than anyone through the past 6 weeks of the season. So I think that they're pretenders come playoff time.
That was my most overrated team coming into the season. So
Wow.
I feel like I hit on that pretty good to start the year. So I'm pretty excited that I was right with that.
Selection. What is Vice selection? We choose 4 matchups, and we're gonna predict who's gonna win and who's not gonna lose. So let's just finish this off real quick. Steelers versus Bengals. I already know who everyone's gonna pick here. There's no question. Joe Burrow is out, and you got the Steelers just gonna finally finish off their 2-game losing streak with a W to go 12-2. You guys agree with that?
100%. I don't see how Brandon Allen can beat the Steelers. As much as I hate the Steelers and I would love to see them lose this game against Cincinnati, I mean, it would just brighten my day no matter what if they lost to Cincinnati, but they're not going to. I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. They are not going to lose this game, and Brandon Allen, let's pray for him because he's going to be facing a pretty tough defense with a pretty bad offensive line. So,
Jared?
Personally, this game kind of freaks me out as a Steeler fan a little bit because the last thing the Steelers need is another primetime game. We needed one of those games to be buried at the 1 o'clock time slot so nobody remembers about us for a week or two, because we don't need to be put in front of the national spotlight yet again, although they're going to win.
Yeah, trust me, if the Steelers lose to the Bengals, there's going to be a laughing matter of that. So many trolls, and Payton's just going to be going crazy in his living room. That's really what's about to happen.
Big facts, man. I won't be
on Twitter for days.
Oh my gosh! If the Steelers lose to the Bengals,
you're not gonna hear from Jared for 2 days straight.
Lord, no, y'all are gonna hear from me a lot. Y'all are gonna hear from me a lot. That's for sure. Oh my goodness, man. Oh,
you definitely
I'll have a smile from ear to ear. Oh my goodness.
You're definitely gonna hear from Payton. I'm telling you that much. Let me go with my second matchup right here.
Yeah.
Miami.
You ain't gonna hear from me for a while.
Definitely not, Jared. Definitely not. Let me go with my second game. Miami versus Pats. Miami coming from a loss. Both teams coming from a loss. One was a devastating loss to the Rams. The other one was a close loss to the Chiefs, giving Patrick Mahomes 3 interceptions. You never see that from Patrick Mahomes. He only had 2 interceptions, and that only came from the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, this match is going to be in Hard Rock Stadium. Miami has lost a lot of weapons on offensive wise, but who you guys got? I'm gonna start off with Payton.
You said Chiefs Saints, right?
I said Miami versus Pats.
Okay, Miami versus Pats. That's why I was confused because you cut out for me for a little bit. My bad. Okay, Miami versus Pats. I'm going to go with Miami just because they're the better team right now. They're playing better defense. Tua is playing better than Cam Newton. I just sounded off on Cam Newton on my last episode. I don't think Cam Newton is a starting quarterback in this league anymore. I believe that the greatest head coach in all time, Bill Belichick, couldn't fix Cam Newton, and the rest of the league is going to realize that, and they're going to be like, oh crap, maybe this guy's really washed. I think the Patriots they're done. They're not going anywhere this year. I think the Dolphins are still fighting for their playoff lives. But one thing's for sure, both of these teams aren't going to go down without a fight. When you have a Bill Belichick-led team, they're not going to go down without a fight. And same thing with Brian Flores and that Miami culture down there. They're not going to go down without a fight. So it's going to be a great game, but I think Miami has the edge.
Okay. Jared, what do you think about this?
This is a game both of those head coaches are looking forward to. Bill Belichick, he's excited for this game just because Miami's a team that he struggles against. And he wants to prove that he can go in and win in Miami because he struggles to do so on a regular occasion. Brian Flores, the protege of Bill Belichick, the guy that has learned from him for so long, wants to prove that he can beat Bill Belichick. And this is going to be a fun game just to watch because of those two. It'll let you take into the fact that, who knows who's going to start for New England this week, because I haven't really heard anything about that, whether it's going to be Cam or whether it's going to be Studham. But either way, Miami wins this game in my opinion because they're fighting to stay in the playoffs. And at this point, New England's just packing it in because there's no chance.
Okay. I'm going to say Miami here. I really think that our defense is going to really pull up today against the Pats. The Pats, the way that you just stop, because they always run. I don't know why the Pats, ever since Cam Newton come off of that COVID list and all that, they just all of a sudden they started running. He didn't look like the same from week 1 to week 3. Cam Newton. I think the key notes for Miami to beat the Pats is contain Cam Newton in the running game, because that's what we struggled in week 1. And everyone's saying like, oh, these signings from Miami were horrible already in week 1. So they're new, so of course it was going to be a struggle. But I think this time around in Hard Rock Stadium, we're going to contain Cam Newton. And I think Miami, especially we just lost Gesicki probably till near the end of the season with that gruesome major shoulder injury. Then you got Parker, who could play that game, depends on his hamstring, and then you got Grant that was out. So, and then near the end of that game against the Chiefs, you had guys like Lynn Bowden Jr. that no one has ever heard if you weren't like a Dolphins or a Raiders fan. And then you had Mac Hollins, Malcolm Perry, and Smythe, there, Shaheen, and everyone's like, that was our starters near the end of the game against the Chiefs. So if we can get some key players back, we just gotta get Matt Breida back from COVID list. So that's a good point. But in the end, I think Miami wins this. I think by 10 points this time around for the Pats. It won't be the Pats this time. But to my next game right here, we're gonna have Seattle versus Washington. Both of these teams here come up with the wins. Seattle blew out the Jets. Washington got the win with the 49ers. Now, this is Washington's chance to take the division. If they win this Sunday, Dallas will be eliminated from not be eliminated, because it's somehow still a chance for the NFC side, but they won't get the division in the NFC East if Washington wins, because they have a tiebreaker over Dallas. So who wins this? Gonna start with Jared this time.
We talked about the Seahawks a little bit earlier, and we talked about Payton brought up their bad offensive line. Now, I don't think their offensive line at all is going to be able to handle that Washington pass rush. Chase Young, Sweat, I just don't see how they're going to be able to contain those two. And then when that happens, you're going to have the Washington offense round and pound the football down your throat. And while the Seattle defense, they're built to stop the run a little bit more because they have Bobby Wagner and then they have Blitz Boy, aka Jamal Adams, at safety. I just don't see how they're going to be able to beat Washington, even though they might have a high-powered offense. Russell Wilson's not have any time to throw the football. I'd take Washington in this one, although it's going to be a close game. I think it's either going to be close or it's going to be a blowout by Seattle. There's going to be no in between. But I'd take the close game and take Washington because I just feel that confident in that Washington football team.
Okay. Payton?
I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna say that Seattle's gonna win this game, mainly because I don't think that Alex Smith is gonna end up playing, and Antonio Gibson is also looking towards not playing. They both didn't practice today. It's not looking good for their status come Sunday. And I in the preseason I told everyone that Dwayne Haskins was not an NFL caliber quarterback, and he's proven me right. Every single time he steps on the field, it's a disaster. And I understand Jared's point about the defense. Washington's defensive line is like top 5 in the league with Chase Young. Chase Young, by the way, defensive rookie of the year, no question, right? I feel like anybody with half a brain can agree with me on that. No question about that. Yeah. He is tremendous. He's proven why he's the 2nd overall pick, and Ron Rivera has truly turned that team around for the better. But with no Alex Smith and Antonio Gibson missing practice potentially all week, maybe even not playing in the game, I don't think that they can win, especially if Haskins is that quarterback.
I gotta agree with Payton with this. I think Seattle is going to win this game. As much as I want to say Washington and their defense has been tremendously good, especially they didn't play against the Steelers. And then the 49ers, containing them because they only got there were 2 touchdowns from the 49ers came from defense, not by offense, by defense, which Alex Smith was struggling, and you didn't have Gibson, so you got guys like Payton Barber on there, and they weren't getting it done. So I think Seattle gets it done. It's still going to be a chase for the division in the NFC East, and it's still going to be a close one though. But I think Seattle takes the W and goes home, and proving that they're still kind of legitimate somewhat. They beat the NFC East division leader. Really, that's really what Seattle is trying to look for, especially since they just beat the Jets and they're just trying to continue on the winning streak right there. But now the game of the week, the Chiefs versus the Saints. Now, the Chiefs are 12-1, first seed. The Saints did lose to the Eagles. They're going to try to get Drew Brees back, although I think he's not going to be 100% himself. They're going to try to get him back for that game because if you have Taysom Hill in the helm against the Chiefs, I don't know about that one. I think especially when Taysom Hill did struggle against the Eagles that game. I don't know, fellas, but for me, I think the Chiefs got this game right here. If Taysom Hill's at the quarterback, Chiefs. If the Drew Brees, and that would be a blowout if Taysom Hill's at the helm. But if Drew Brees is at the helm, I think this game will be back and forth game. I think the Chiefs will hold on to win, but I think by 10 points. I think that's going to come down to like one of those one final possession games, which will keep Chiefs fans from getting off their seats on the edge of the seats like this all game long. So that's what I really feel, and I think the Chiefs going to win this game right here, and it's going to be in New Orleans. Payton, let me start off with you. Who you got in this game?
You know I'm going with my man Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league, currently the front runner for MVP. I understand that New Orleans has a great defense, and I understand Drew Brees may be coming back, but he's 40 years old, coming off 11 fractured ribs and a punctured lung, which is just awful. I think he only missed like 4 games. You're going to need more time to recover, my man. And I understand everyone says that, well, the Saints defense is better than the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense is still one of the top in the league. I believe it's top 10 in total defense. So that's nothing to sleep on right there. And Patrick Mahomes, you can't beat him with a good defense. Where the Chiefs actually lose the most is when there's a team that keeps up with them in a shootout. Noticed the Rams on Monday Night Football a few years ago.
Yeah.
They were considered a good defense all year and beat the Chiefs at their own game. That's the only way that you can beat the Chiefs right now. They're too good. They aren't going to lose because you have a good defense. They're not scared of a good defense.
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes exactly. Patrick Mahomes just threw 3 interceptions and won that game pretty easily. I mean, I understand that the score was close, but that game was never really in doubt. Let's be real. So the Chiefs, they're too good to lose just because you have a good defense. And if Taysom Hill is starting, they're going to get blown out of the water because don't even get me started on Taysom Hill. I don't think that he has what it takes to be a starting quarterback in this league long term.
I think before I pass it to Jared, just a key note, in order to stopping Mahomes, if you get turnovers over him, score touchdowns. Don't be like my Finns that had 3 possessions and only scored a field goal out of that.
Yep. You have to capitalize on every opportunity because you know the Chiefs will.
Yeah, tell me about it. Jared, what do you think? What do you think?
Let's be honest here. The better team, we all know who it is. It's Kansas City. But if you look at this game, regardless of, there's 3 quarterbacks on the Saints roster, and people seem to forget about the other one. If the Saints want to win this game, they have to roll with one of them, and his name's Jameis Winston. That's the only chance the Saints have, in my opinion. Jameis Winston's a legit NFL quarterback. You don't throw for 5,000 total yards in one season and not be a legit NFL quarterback. The fact that he did not start one game yet this season, and Taysom Hill has, tells me either one thing. Sean Payton doesn't think he's a good quarterback, or that he's a future, or that he is the future in New Orleans, and Sean Payton doesn't want people seeing just how good he is under Sean Payton. Sean Payton wants to keep him hidden like he kind of did last year with Taysom Hill because he thought Taysom Hill was the future, so he showed off Teddy Bridgewater because he knew he wasn't going to be able to retain Teddy anyways. Chiefs win this game easy, but if Drew Brees, if he's healthy, sit him 1 week, let Jameis play because Jameis he's one of the more entertaining players in football. He can keep your team in the game and the other team in the game because he's going to either go out and throw a touchdown or he's going to go out and throw a pick six. But the next drive, regardless of what happens, he's going to keep throwing the ball and chucking it. They need to just let him do 5-step dropbacks and chuck it deep to Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders and see what happens. But either way, Chiefs win this game, but I want to see Jameis Winston so bad. Like, so bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you either, especially with that against that Eagles game. It was like, put in Winston, put in turnover machine Winston. Come on. Anything kind of sparked the game up a little bit. Although Taysom Hill kind of do a little flashes, but it was like near the end of the game. So
I would like to say that I agree that Jameis Winston is going to be a starting quarterback again in this league. I believe that he has tremendous talent, and I hope that he can fix his interception problem. But we're not going to see Jameis. We're not going to see Jameis this year, if I'm being honest. And if you think that if we do see Jameis, there is absolutely no way that Jameis Winston can just step on the field on Sunday and beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
That would be the story to hear.
I think he can, but hey, I'll rest my case.
That will be the story of the week if that happens. Let's be real. That will be the story. Jameis wins over Patrick Mahomes. That will be the story of the week. And then
I don't think Sean Payton wants that story, though. I don't think Sean Payton wants that story. I do think Jameis Winston is the quarterback of the future for New Orleans. I don't think it's Taysom.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've said it before though. So
I don't see Hill. I know they're trying to experiment with Taysom Hill because they weren't going to get a chance to see if Hill was going to be the guy or not. But I don't think Hill's good for being a special teams kind of player, like a special option player, kind of like how Jarvis Landry is when they do his trickery type plays. I think he's good for that, more special teams player. But other than that, not really. But my last game before we send it off, Payton's Browns versus the Giants. So let me start off with Payton since it's his team. Who you got, Payton?
The Browns are going to destroy the Giants. Straight up. You have to destroy the Giants if you want to be considered a serious playoff contender. I understand that the Giants are still in the playoff race, but they're not really in the playoff race. They're in the NFC East race. That's not a real thing. Okay. So the Giants, yes, they play great defense. Wonderful. Wow. But if Colt McCoy or Daniel Jones, for that matter, both of them are just not good. Daniel Jones turns the ball over like it's his pastime, like he does it as a hobby, okay? I mean, he turns the ball over at alarming rates, okay? Especially the fumbles, which I can argue are worse than interceptions in terms of the field position. And Colt McCoy, who actually played for the Browns, the first Browns game that I ever went to was Colt McCoy and the Browns playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He almost won that game in the snow. It was a really cold day. But he's not going to almost win this game. The Browns, they're going to easily handle this. They're going to win the time of possession. They're going to get after the quarterback a lot with Myles Garrett, that pass rush, because I understand Daniel Jones is a little bit mobile, but Colt McCoy is not mobile at all. They're not going to be able to get away from Myles Garrett. And Baker Mayfield, I think, is going to continue to look good. I think he's gotten a nice flow of that offense. I think he's in rhythm. I think he feels good about himself, and I'm feeling good about the Browns too this Sunday.
Jared, what you think?
This one's simple. I'm with Payton. It's the Browns. I like what the Browns are doing. I love teams that like to run the football. That's one of the reasons I like the Browns, because Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, what a backfield duo that is. They're going to have a good day versus the Giants. But let's not disrespect the Giants. Joe Judge has that team playing right now, although they are coming off a sad loss. I'm going to cut them slack because that team, let's be honest, they're nowhere near as talented as their record is right now. And their record's not even that good. That's just not a good football team. I mean, he has that team believing, although they're not going to be able to beat the Browns. It's still going to be a fun game to watch because just watching a team like Cleveland run the ball is old school, and it's something I miss more in football. I wish more teams in the football like the Browns.
Okay. And now to me now. Browns versus Giants. Who do I got? I got upsets here. You know how my upsets, I picked the Giants last time against Seattle, and that was correct. Now, this time, I actually go with the Giants. I'm actually going to pick an upset here. If Colt McCoy is the quarterback, I think Colt McCoy can beat the Browns. I understand the Browns. I think it will be a shootout. Let's be real. But I think it's just going to come down to Cody Parkey missing another field goal, crucial game-winning field goal against the Giants. I really feel that somehow, some way, I think that's just going to happen. I think the Giants, Wayne Gallman, I think he's going to go, especially with with the Browns defense, like Payton mentioned earlier in this episode, with the corners, you just can't trust them. Even if they get a huge lead against the Giants, you can't really trust them holding that lead for long. So it's gonna come down. It's gonna come down to the Browns trying to keep it real. But I think the Giants can make an upset and actually stay alive in the NFC East for my upset.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, to be honest with you, my man. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I know I'm a homer. I know I'm a little bit biased, but Colt McCoy,
he beat
Colt
Russell Wilson, did he not?
Oh, he beat Russell Wilson. Who knows how to block? The Browns offensive line or the Seahawks offensive line? The Browns offensive line is good. The Seahawks offensive line, you might as well put me out there to try to block. I mean, are you serious? They let anyone through. Okay. So I don't see it. I don't see how Colt McCoy is going to beat us. I know he beat Russell Wilson. That defense beat Russell Wilson. Okay. He threw for like 100 yards that game and had a passer rating of like under 70. Okay. So like he is not going to be able to beat the Browns. The only way that the Steelers win is if Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt catch COVID.
In the Giants.
That's the only way that the Giants can win.
I don't know.
Agreed.
I don't know. It's going to be a close one. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns somehow choke it, but I will be not surprised if the Browns win it. But I'm just saying, to give a point, I just think the Giants defense can come back from that loss from the Cardinals and show up because Baker Mayfield can make some interceptions or give me like how he did it against the Titans. You just don't know. It's a given week for the Browns too at the same time.
We're talking about the Giants.
Yes.
Hassan Reddick had 5 sacks last week against the Giants. 5 and 3 forced fumbles. So they can't really block either. And then you have Myles Garrett, who honestly, if he didn't miss 2 games because of COVID, should be in the defensive player of the year conversation, might be one of the best defensive ends in the league. He is going to tear up that offensive line right now that didn't want to block Hassan Reddick. But hey, man, listen, I respect it. I'm not going to lie. I respect it, but I really, really, really hope you're wrong. I really
I agree with you. I think the Browns are legitimate, but I just from that Monday night, I understand they went back and forth. I just don't know. Even when they get a huge lead, I just don't trust their defense holding any team off besides the Titans, obviously. But it's just that defense that worries me. And I feel if your offense starts slacking in that game, the Giants can get an upset right there. So your offense can't really slack because your defense get a solid. Myles Garrett can finally come back, but your corners is where you worry a lot about, That's what I get scared with the Browns. Our offense, yes, the offense is secure. Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, their offense is secure. The running game's good. Got good wide receivers. They just got to be consistent too at the same time.
Luckily for those corners that we've been talking about, they'll be playing against Colt McCoy. So I'm pretty sure that they're not too worried. There's a difference between playing against Lamar and Big Ben and all these good quarterbacks and then Colt McCoy. This is the guy that made the Seahawks defense look good.
Hey, man. Any given Sunday, I'm telling you, any given Sunday. Trust me,
I'll give you that.
Like the Broncos being my fence, pretty much. That's what I mean. So you never know. You never know. And that's how we're going to end this episode right here. I appreciate Jared and Payton coming on my show, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all can talk right now, man. Like, I appreciate y'all both, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on again. I'll try to have you on my show soon, boy.
Man, if this man doesn't put me on his show,
I'll have you on soon. I swear.
Knocking on his door right there. Like, get me on my show, man. Let me get on your show.
Hey, I'll have you on soon. I'll have Jared on soon, too. We'll have to have a Steelers fan